What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Deep 3 podcast. I'm your host, Donovan Smoot. I got the homies Isaac Gutierrez and Mojo99, and we got a special guest with us today, Kenny Beecham, host of the Through the Wire podcast. He's rocking out with us. We're going to go through our hot takes. We're previewing the Southeast Division. Got a whole bunch to get to, but everybody, what's up? What's going on? How we feeling?
Feeling good, man. Appreciate the invite. You know,
appreciate you coming on.
Y'all been popping up on the TikTok feed and the YouTube Shorts feed. Had to get on, man. I appreciate y'all having me.
Coming from the guy who I see on my YouTube feed about 300 times a day across your 300 channels.
Absolutely. He's Mr. Worldwide. I see him everywhere, bro. Even on TV at times, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's a crazy life, man, and we're living it.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us for a little bit. Today, I don't know if Donovan said it, we're going to preview the Southeast Division, continuing our trend of doing one a week. But before we get to that, we're going to do what we always do and start off with some of y'all's hot takes. So, as always, I got a list of NBA hot takes for you guys. Y'all let me know if these are W takes or L takes.
Kenny, your ears finna bleed with some of these. Our views are crazy.
All right. I didn't get any terrible ones this week. These are all decent. I'll give him that.
We'll be the judge.
Luke says that the Suns will be the next playoff team to blow it all up. Like the Jazz.
Oh, for sure. That's a W take.
That's a W take. Yeah, that's
for sure.
That's good. Yeah, I think it's kind of easy.
Are we counting the Trailblazers? Are we counting the Trailblazers as a playoff team?
No, they didn't make it last year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, they're in the contention though. I think they're definitely gonna blow it up before the Suns do.
Yeah, I'm looking at the candidates, and I mean, a lot of these teams feel like they're ready to keep doing their thing, and the way the vibes are in Phoenix. But then again, they have such a young core. They're not trading Book. They're not trading McHale.
And the Nets also exist. That's kind of a ticking time bomb always.
True.
Maybe blow up was the wrong word. Maybe retool is better. But still, for the sake of this question, I'm going to give this a W still. Because getting rid of your number one overall pick is kind of crazy.
Listen, I mean, but like, it's a fair question though. Are we sure that Ayton's going to be there at the end of the season? Like, he clearly doesn't want to be. I'm
not sure Ayton's going to be there in January.
Yeah.
I don't.
As soon as that clock is up, he's going to request that trade. That's what it feels like right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to be there in January, and I'm positive he don't want to be there in January.
Yeah, so I'm giving this a W take.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, I'll talk you into a W take.
Nice. Our next one, Kobe says that Donovan Mitchell is a top 15 player in the NBA right now.
Oh my God.
That's tough. That's tough, but that's an L take.
Damn.
That's an L take.
I love how Kenny just laughed it off.
That's not that crazy to me.
It is an L take though. I mean, he's probably in the range of like 18 through 20 something. So it's not that crazy, but 15 is a bit high.
He's not super far off that, but he's definitively not that. So it's got to be an L take.
Depending on the day, for me personally, like if I'm in a good mood, you know what I'm saying, you could talk me into that. I'll say W for now. On a regular day though, that's an L. But
who would you put him over? Like that's in that range, Mo.
Listen, this is not a good day to ask me that question. All right, it's not a good day to ask me that.
So
Today's one of those days. Ask me tomorrow,
the
maybe.
14th and 15th best players are probably like Devin Booker and Jimmy Butler, or somewhere in those tiers, and they're probably a little bit better than Donovan.
Yeah,
that's fair.
All right, next one, Watermelon says that Shaq is the second best big man of all time, which basically means are you putting him above Wilt, Bill Russell, and Tim Duncan?
That's an L take for me.
Okay.
That's an L take for me because I have Kareem, in terms of like my big man ratings, I would have Kareem 1 and Hakeem 2. And then we get into like
over
Shaq.
Tim Duncan?
Oh, are we counting? Well, he's a power forward. I thought we were just talking about centers.
That man is 6'11". He's a big man.
Stop. No, but it's different. That's different.
We're counting Tim Duncan as a big man for this conversation.
Okay, then.
If we're counting Tim Duncan, L take.
Then yeah. Tim Duncan's better than Shaq, in my opinion. I have Tim Duncan 4th all time. So, like, there's not a lot of people that are better than Tim Duncan, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to go L take because I also have Tim Duncan above him, but I'm not mad at that at all. They're both super close, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, simple L. Not crazy at all, though.
Simple L.
Simple
Casual.
L. Okay.
Gentleman's L.
Yeah.
Respectable. All right, Rylan says that James Harden is going to make an All-NBA team next year.
L take. This man is washed.
You said that way too fast. Oh, my goodness. This
All
is interesting.
NBA. All NBA.
Every
James
time
Harden's
I say the name James Harden, I just see the hate in Donovan's eyes. He just lights up his opportunity to let us know how just terrible of a fat slob he is.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
but like he's not gonna be one of the 6 best guards in basketball next year. Like that's
I wouldn't be shocked if he made third team. Come on.
I don't think you have to be actually one of the top 6. You just have to be really good on a really good team.
Yeah.
And I think Philly's going to be like the 1-2 seed out east, and he's going to average 23 and 9 and 6, and that's going to be good enough to make an All-NBA team. I'm saying W take.
Me too. W take because he's probably going to make third team, but I don't see first or second team.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go ahead and side with you and with Isaac and Kenny. It's a W take. Donovan, get that hate out of your heart, please.
Let's clip this. We'll come back in a couple months. I promise you, he's not making 13.
Gladly.
He's gonna come out looking like James Ennis again. You're gonna be laughing at us.
James Ennis. Oh hell no.
All right, last one. Cannon fodder says that Jason Tatum is gonna win an MVP in the next 3 years.
Ooh.
Now, I get this one's probably you probably have impulse to say yes, but I'm going to go L take.
Why you say
I feel
L?
like he's perennially going to be that guy that's like in third or fourth in voting, but never going to be better than Giannis, Jokic, Embiid, all these other guys.
This is tough.
It's tough, though. I think the argument pro would be that the Celtics are going to be so good that any given year he has a chance, but
yeah,
I just don't feel like he's on that level of those other guys.
I'll give it an... Actually, no. I think I might give it a W take just because if we're talking about like the next 3 years, even if like we're talking about Giannis, I think Giannis is live for the MVP this year. Does voter fatigue step in? I know like the MVP, there's sometimes where guys start to get pushed up towards the top of the list as their careers go on. And if Tatum continues on this trajectory, I think there's a very real path for him to be like in any given season to be one of like the top, five top 3 players in the world.
Yeah, I suppose.
I think you guys putting too much talk into this. I'm just gonna simply give this a W because Tatum's elite. Tatum's elite, top 10 player, and his team is good as fuck. W take.
Yeah, I think the combination of what you two are saying, I think voters fatigue is going to be really real with those top echelon guys. And Jason Tatum is probably next in the pipeline with his team being extremely good.
Yeah, I can definitely see the narrative that's like it's time for Jason Tatum to get his MVP. He's owed one or whatever. But Luka's owed one if we're doing that. Trae Young, like I just feel like they're going to be in that conversation before him just because they put up better gaudy numbers.
Good.
Three years isn't a whole lot of time.
Again, the team success is a big aspect of it. Like, and listen, I'm not trying to hate on Mo. I don't know if the Hawks are gonna be at the Celtics level in the next 3 years.
I'm not trying to hate on Mo. He's the GM.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so I think team success will play a big part.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, can't argue with that. But that's a good segue because that's all the hot takes I got. So we can get into this division preview and. Let's not even waste any time. Let's start with the Hawks. Okay. Muhammad's favorite team. Well-known Trae Young super fan. Let's just get into it.
Listen, I just need to hear what Kenny speak your ism. What do you think about the Hawks? Where do you think they're going to be at this up-and-coming season? Do you think DeJounte and Trae can mesh? I need to hear it all.
I do believe that great players find a way to mesh. But it's like to what level? You know what I'm saying? They're definitely 100% a play.
Yeah, I don't know, 100%.
The Eastern Conference is so elite, right? The Eastern Conference is so elite that, like, when you start to lay out the teams that are better than them, I think there's at least 5 teams that, like, I can confidently say will probably finish. I can confidently probably say are going to finish better. So I like the trade originally.
Yeah.
I like it a little bit less now.
Yeah.
But I also haven't seen it either. You know?
I feel like so initially the reception was like incredibly positive. It's like, whoa, they added an all-star point guard. They're going to be great. They went from this mediocre playing team. Now they have to be a playoff team simply by the addition of talent. But I feel like it's not that simple. Like you said, you believe great players make it work. But the fact that we have questions about if they can make it work just makes me not so sure that they're going to be this top, upper echelon team that their fans like Muhammad think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have questions.
I feel like the only time people only question this trade because of what happened like after this trade. You know what I'm saying? Like when the Donovan Mitchells of the world got traded, Rudy Gobert got traded, things like that. Now you're looking at the Hawks like, damn, they really gave up that much for DeJounte Murray, and he's not on any of those dudes' level. You know what I'm saying? And so like now like I have.
That's not why I question it.
You said.
Not my worry.
My
worry is that they have they traded for a point guard who needs the ball in his hands, and he's worse with the ball in his hands than their current point guard. It's like that kind of boils down to that.
Yeah, I definitely see that, and I agree with that to a certain extent. But great, like Kenny said, great players figure it out and they make it work. My only real question about the Hawks is like, how good is DeAndre Hunter gonna be, dog? And also, here's the plan. All right, So if everything goes right in my head, I could be cracked out right now and I could be tripping. But if Onyeka Okongwu, I have so much stock in that man. If his jump shot can be real, send Clint Capella to somewhere else, bro. Send him somewhere else, and let's go ahead and get a stronger three or something like that. not that crazy. Not that crazy. But if Okongwu, the young guys, Okongwu, DeAndre Hunter, and Jalen Johnson, haven't heard that name in forever, bro. But if he can make a real impact, those three guys can make a real impact and like be actual, like a real supporting cast alongside DeJounte and Trey. We already know what those guys are going to do. It's those guys. Those three are the X factors for me. Mm-hmm. And I think if they'll do good, then we'll be like top 4 or 5 seed in the East easily.
The question I have about that is, what if Clint Capella is back to his year before last form and he's like too good to just not play? Do you think there's a world where Onyeka can play next to Clint? At that point, do you trade John Collins like it was so rumored for a long time? Like that logjam can go a lot of different ways.
That's interesting. That's super interesting. If it depends on how real Okongwu's shot is and how consistent it will be.
I'm gonna assume it's not real until we see it. I don't think he's gonna go from not shooting threes at all to here being a fucking sharpshooter.
Yeah, exactly. I think you don't draft a 6th overall pick just to keep him on the bench. That's like a huge no. I'm talking too much, so I gotta hear what Donovan and Kenny gotta say.
I mean, listen. Kenny almost went there, but he didn't go all the way. But I'm gonna go all the way. I don't think that the Hawks make the playoffs this year. I don't think.
We have $100 bet on this.
Right now, there are 7 teams that I think that are better than the Hawks, and that's gonna put them.
Can you name them? I want to hear.
Yeah. So I would take Miami, Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Toronto, Brooklyn, and Cleveland over Atlanta.
Toronto is crazy.
I think the Cleveland Atlanta one is a real conversation.
You think Cleveland's a conversation?
That's fair. I don't think that the Cleveland one is like a stretch, but I think that with all the defense that they have with Mobley and Allen, and then now you're adding a 25 a game scorer in Donovan Mitchell, and then Garland is still there to run the show. Like, you have a lot of pieces there. So I think talent wise, I like the talent in their starting 5 more than I like the talent in Atlanta's. And so if you want to take Atlanta, that's 100% cool. I'm not gonna argue to the death with you about that. But I personally think that Cleveland is gonna be better. So now that puts Atlanta in the play-in tournament, and so they're gonna have to win. If they're the 8th seed, right? Let's say they don't get the 7th seed. Now they're in a 1-game play-in for the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things that can happen when you're in that scenario. So I don't have a lot of faith in Atlanta. And Mo, you just talked about everything that you wanted to see from the Hawks. You said if 1 guy, if 2 guys, if 3 guys can turn up, and if DeJounte Murray and Trae Young can mesh. And so now we have questions about 3 players that are supposed to be really, really like impactful role players, and the main dynamic of the team between the backcourt is a huge question.
So, all that to say, what are y'all official predictions for what seeding they're going to finish in?
I've already been cleared. They will probably end up in the 8th seed and miss the playoffs from there.
This dude is bonkers.
Okay.
I don't know why he says something like that, because you mentioned the play-in, like we just been in the play-in, and we destroyed 2 teams. I forgot what those teams were. I think one of them were the Hornets or something like that.
I'm not saying
the Cavs.
Stuff
Cavs.
Stuff can happen when you get into 1-game scenarios. Anything can happen, and unless you're playing the Charlotte Hornets, who just give up 170 points a game, right? Like things are going to be challenging, and I'm not comfortable just penning them in to make the playoffs from that situation.
I'm in the Eastern Conference, and I got one of the best players in the Eastern Conference. I would say 7 times out of 10, he's probably going to be the best player on the court, and I'm gonna abide by that, and I'm gonna say that Trae Young, all these boys gonna lead me to. It'll be a phenomenal season if we were 4th seed. So I'm going to say 4th seed. 5 seed won't be mad at it.
4th seed is so ambitious. There's no fucking way.
I'm an ambitious man. What can I say, Isaac?
So Mo, if they end up in the play-in, would you think that it was a wildly unsuccessful season?
Oh, absolutely.
As a fan?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason, no real excuse. The only way we're a play-in team is if we have like a cataclysmic injury to someone like Trae, which is understandable.
Only way? I got some bad news for you. There's some other ways.
Do you think that the Atlanta Hawks have a better roster than the Toronto Raptors?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yikes.
I take it in a heartbeat.
I mean, I guess that's fine. Talent-wise, I get
we got
it.
some
Fit-wise,
dynamics,
probably not. But I can see that. Do
there's
you
levels.
think they have a better? Do you think they have a better roster than the Cavs?
No. I'm gonna be honest. No. Jared Allen,
Okay.
Evan Mobley, Donovan.
Yeah.
No,
So I know
I'm not.
Kenny mentioned that was one of the ones he was a toss-up with. But I think the Cavs are closer to being in contention for those top 3 or 4 teams than they are with being in any conversation with Atlanta.
I
don't
can
know.
respect that. I mean, I guess we're really riding on the Evan Mobley leap, which I think is a real possibility.
Mhm.
And I'm watching them play on TV right now, and they look fucking great. The backcourt they're just sharing the ball, and I think they both have double-digit points in the first half. Like it looks good. So maybe
Yeah.
I was bugging by saying that.
I think what it comes down to for me is it's very rare that you see a defensive front court as dynamic as Evan Mobley and Jared Allen when it comes to having a rim protector like that
Man,
and a
talk
mobile
about
big.
meat writing. Oh my god.
But it's also it's also very rare to have a dynamic backcourt like Garland and Donovan Mitchell. They're that complementary. Having both together at the same time is fucking ridiculous. Like I don't even know what that ceiling could be having both if they're clicking at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I look at the Atlanta Hawks, it's not really about what's on the roster or what's missing. It's just about the teams around them.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I'm saying? Like the roster looks fire. Like if this same roster was put together last year, I would be like, yeah, 100%. They're a 4 seed. But every other team just got better, other than the Chicago Bulls that were like fighting for a playoff spot. So it's a lot harder to just say. I mean, the good thing is that Trae Young is a walking top 5 offense, so that's a thing. Maybe a little bit worse now, just because they have to figure out the DeJounte Murray thing. But we know that the offense is going to be good. Do we think that DeJounte Murray's addition propels them defensively as much as it could? I don't know.
No, I absolutely do not. I think that's like the main thing. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. That's why I'm not so high on them. People think that, they got this amazing defensive guard, their defense is going to be better, but their issues on defense weren't because of the guard play necessarily.
Interior.
Their issues with their rim defense. Yeah, they're the 21st rim defense, and DeJounte is great. He's going to be very valuable, especially now that he can focus more on defense. But he's not going to be out here swatting everything at the rim, deterring people, helping at the nail. That's just not his role.
Yeah.
And I guess if you think Onyeka's going to make that big jump or Capella's going to be not washed this year, like, it's possible, but that's a lot of things you're banking on that have nothing to do with DeJounte.
At the end of the day,
So it's like the questions they had before are still there. So maybe the additions that he brings outweigh those, but I don't know.
It's just a lot of ifs with Atlanta right now, and like I think the only thing that's sure is that Trae Young is there, and like Kenny said, he is a top 5 offense, but that hasn't just Trae alone hasn't gotten them to where they wanted to go in the past. Well, actually no, I'll take that back because they did make an Eastern Conference Finals, so I'll take that back. But in the season since, it hasn't looked as well, so that's why I'm saying like we can't really guarantee anything with Atlanta just because Trae's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's about all we have to say about this team. We have 4 other teams to talk about that are far less interesting, so I'm glad we got
Does
that out
John
of it.
Collins make it through the season on the Atlanta Hawks?
Oof.
yeah,
Probably.
I say so.
Probably. I feel like we're perpetually going to be in the cycle of, will they get traded? They're shopping him around, and then they just never do it.
I hate how much he's thrown in the. I just hate how much he's thrown in those conversations. It's annoying, but I don't
Remember how positive they were that he was going to be a king in the offseason?
Yeah, they're just always wrong, and like I never ever believed none of those talks up until like this offseason, and that was when like DeJounte Murray, like, I think he quote tweeted something about like John Collins being thrown in a trade with him or for him or something like that, and I was like, oh shit may just go down, but never happened. So I think it's just all smoke until like the Hawks have like a real disappointing season and John Collins is like the forefront of that, like he didn't perform or just a complete liability on defense, then I think he's not going to be moved unless one of those things happen.
Why do you think they're apparently in such a rush to trade him? Like, why are they so tempted to get him out of there?
A lot of Hawks fans are in the rush to go ahead and get rid of him because he can't dribble and like, you know what I'm saying, play make or anything like that. And also he's not the ideal defender you'd want next to someone like Trae Young. That's why.
He's much improved. I feel like is the ideal offensive player you want next to Trae Young, though. Someone who can pop, who can roll, who can't dribble, but I mean he can do a little bit with the ball in his hands. He's not like he's just like fucking just a statue. He's not Kristaps Porzingis out there. Like,
exactly.
I feel like and his defense isn't as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, most definitely. He played elite level defense back when we made that run to the Eastern Conference Finals and things like that. But I feel like people are just expecting. It was great. People are expecting a little bit too much out of him, and John Collins, like, we have to be honest. Certain players have ceilings on them, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And John Collins has hit that, and he just needs to maintain it at a good enough level for us to keep him in the long run. And man, just Hawks fans are just they don't know what they want. They ask for too much. They be doing the most.
All right, Kenny, you brought it up. You asked the question. Well, do you think they should trade John Collins? If you were the GM,
I don't think you're
going to
get anything in a John Collins trade that will be worth trading him. Especially for a team that just traded with 3 first-round picks to be better now. If you're trading John Collins, it's like for future assets more than the
maybe
now.
It's replenish that.
Yeah, so it's like I don't think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, well, let's say there's a world where they decide they want to trade him because the team's not working out at the deadline. Where would they even want to upgrade with that potential asset?
I don't know.
A 3, put Hunter at the 4. Do they want to? I guess if that's the issue's probably spacing. Maybe they want a 3 and D guy, but who would be that guy?
That's not even. That's just so weird. Yeah, the market's not there, and also I don't even think that's a real issue because he's a great shooter. So
well, he's a good shooter, but he's not necessarily like a major floor spacer. There's like a difference there. Like maybe he has a similar 3-point percentage to, I don't know. Let's say somebody like Joe Harris. That's not as good as Joe Harris. That's
for sure.
But the way that Joe Harris plays, he spaces the floor more and it's more of a threat. Maybe they feel like they need that with Kevin Huerter gone.
I could understand that. I could see a world in that, most definitely. But that's just still not good enough of a reason to go ahead and get rid of him. Like, he needs to shit the bed. He needs to be that bad for us to be seriously.
You would think, but apparently he's on the edge. They're always thinking about getting him out of there, so they have a reason, I guess.
I'm more concerned about Onyeka Okongwu getting buried as a backup long term.
Maybe that's the reason to trade John Collins. Maybe to just free Onyeka. It's less is more type shit.
Yeah.
But
Jay Crowder's out there, man.
Apparently. But I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna be the ones to bite.
Who
do y'all? Let's go on a tangent. Who do you think is gonna trade for Jay Crowder, or I should say, who do you want to trade for Jay Crowder?
It's impossible, man. Like. You know, my day job is playing 2K, and I do a lot of fictional trades in 2K, and it's like I'm looking around the league. That's the day job is playing 2K. No, and I'm just looking around the league just for salary purposes, because if there's one thing 2K got, it's matching salaries and stuff. And it's just hard to find a situation that Jay Crowder will be excited about, which is like a starting spot, because that's why he's mad in the first place, but also a team that has the assets to match the salary that the Suns are like, okay, we're good enough to make that trade. It's almost impossible.
What's his salary right now? Can't remember.
It's like 9 something.
Yeah, it's such a weird number. Like, I know people in NBA media always talk about this, but like it's so hard to have these medium contracts since every team now is built around stars and cheap young guys.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, like the only teams off the top of my head that I'm like, there's no perfect fit or like easy go. But
what does Gallinari make?
I don't know. I think he's on a vet minimum.
Is he?
But even with that, they couldn't trade him for a couple months, right? Because he just inked the deal
that's right.
2 weeks before.
I was thinking they traded for him. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The only team I'm like,
I don't know. It's tough.
Bro, would he want to be an OKC Thunder or something like that? It's like,
fuck no.
He just want to hoop. That's what it seemed like.
I can't imagine he'd be excited about that.
Gallinari signed a $215.
So if he's available, they could move him once December 15th comes around. I think that's the date.
Yeah.
But will Jay Crowder be available by then? I don't know. He's probably moved before then, I would assume.
What I saw from the Suns, they need to move him ASAP to get some bench depth because they look terrible.
I know the popular pick is send him back to the Grizzlies. That's like a real thing people always say. I don't know who they would trade in that.
The Grizzlies' depth is basically just all rookies at this point.
Yeah.
So it's not like they have matching salaries anymore either. They traded away their matching salaries for one of those rookies. So I don't know.
Well, we're going on a tangent. Let's move on to the next team in this division. Let's talk about the Hornets.
Trash.
Obviously are interesting because they lost Miles Bridges, which we don't got to get super far into, but they're not going to have him for this season, or probably maybe not for the rest of his career. Who knows? But regardless, now they have this big hole in their lineup that they have to fill, especially scoring-wise. What do you think is going to be the answer to that for them?
Victor Wembanyama. There's no answer. There's no answer.
It's going 13 and 69.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's obviously hard to replace like 20 points a game. But listen, I think the jump that we saw from LaMelo last year as a scorer, that's going to be, if he can take another leap from if he can take another leap scoring the ball, I think that's going to be huge. they're kind of going to be able to free up Terry Rozier a little bit more, and Terry's going to be able to go back and kind of be a bucket getter. We'll see if Gordon Hayward can stay alive this season. I don't have a lot of faith in him to stay healthy for 82 games, maybe for even 70 games. But those three are the ones where I'm like, okay, this 20 points, you guys are the ones that are going to have to pick this up. You know?
Yeah. I guess, like you said, it's going to have to be a big LaMelo leap, I suppose, if they have any hope of getting back into the play-in range, which... first of all, do any of you think they're going to be in the play-in range this year?
No, there's too much talent.
Yeah, I don't think they have a chance at all. Unless LaMelo...
So you think they're going to bottom out? Are they going to try to tank for a year?
I think they should.
That's what they should. They don't have enough talent right now. They're like 4 deep at the most at this moment.
I think they can do it. I think Charlotte can make the play-in, right? Like, if you the only other 2 teams that are outside of the play-in that I like actually have hope for this year would be New York and it would be Washington. And listen, with both
those teams are probably better than Charlotte, right?
I think New York is better than Charlotte.
I think by far,
at the minimum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Washington, but for sure,
what a mid off.
For sure, New York.
Yeah, only mid.
It's the definition of it. But if we like, and I guess the Hornets question really comes down to how high are we on LaMelo? Is LaMelo going to be like that guy? Is he gonna be an all-star not by replacement this year? Is he gonna really take that leap? And because I think if he does, then Charlotte actually has like they have something to work with. And so
So you're saying, is he going to get to the point where he's so good that he can propel his team up into at least being mediocre like other all-stars of that ilk are?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, he's going to be an all-star like you asked for sure because his numbers are going to be insane with that much usage. But I don't know if he's actually going to be that level of impact as other guys are.
What I don't have a lot of good players.
It really comes down to that.
What I would want to see from LaMelo, though, I want to see him get better at creating contact and getting to the free throw line and finishing at the rim. He's been in like under the 55th percentile in his first 2 seasons, finishing at the rim among guards. And he doesn't get to the free throw line much. He takes about I don't have the numbers off top, but I think somewhere around like 2.1, somewhere like that.
It's crazy.
If he can get that up to 4, right? Maybe like let's draw one more foul game and get to the line and get 2 more shots there. That's a really big area of emphasis that I think that he should be working on, and because then you can start going from 17, 18, start getting into those 20s and be a legit number 1 scorer.
I don't know if that's ever going to be a I think that's going to be a weakness for him like forever. Like he's same thing with Lonzo. Neither one of them can finish at the rim.
Yeah, it's the ball thing. None of them get to the basket.
Why do you think that is?
Athleticism, they have the opportunity to, just never do it.
Why do you think that is? Like clearly, like if they're both like that, like I wonder if it's just like the way they played growing up. Like who knows? It's crazy.
It's weird as hell.
Yeah.
Dog, my thing about
it is weird, but it's also not. Because like a lot of times you see siblings that play in the NBA that have like similar games, or even in the NFL, like Joey and Nick Bosa are the same player. So like it's just funny how that works out.
That is true. But my thing with the Hornets is just like there's no point to carrying on whatever the hell they got going on. They should just straight up tank. Like what's the point? You have nothing. You have nothing but good vibes going on, and you know what I'm saying the only vibes that gravitate towards fans in my mind is guys like LaMelo and then Terry Rozier and then the old dude who whatever his name, and like there's just no point to anything. Just tank. You have a better chance at reviving your team in that city and getting that city excited for basketball, because right now in my mind the Hornets are in like a very, very dangerous zone of like these rumors of young stars wanting out hella early is gonna happen to LaMelo like this season, next season, if they don't like have any clear direction. And that's the sad truth, the harsh reality for the Charlotte Hornets for sure.
It's like it's a small market thing, right? Like the small markets feel like they need to go out there and make signings, so we go and get Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, and all of these dudes, and then it's cool enough for you to win 33 games. But it's like in order for a small market team to really do what they have to draft well, and they haven't done that other than the LaMelo pick. And this is the year where you want to have a top pick, because the way people are talking, as long as you have a top 7 pick this year, you're golden.
Yeah.
You got to stand. You got to get in those sweepstakes, man.
And if
That's
you get a
the
top
only way
2 pick,
people
you have a
know
Hall of
happy.
Famer.
Exactly.
So the Hornets have
Exactly.
just spent. So the Hornets have had LaMelo for 2 years, kind of revived themselves after we all thought that they were going to be absolutely irrelevant after getting rid of Kemba. They make it to the play-in back-to-back years, and now we're going to tear it all down and start from scratch with LaMelo on the roster. Is that what you guys want?
Because they
them
don't
to
have
do?
anything other than LaMelo to build around.
Yeah.
James Bouknight couldn't get PT, and hopefully Steve Clifford gives him some run. Mark Williams hasn't played in preseason. JT Thor looks cool, I guess. And it's just like they have a bunch of nothing draft
deep
picks at
cut.
this moment. It's just like this is the only way. I think if you sat LaMelo down and talk to him like, hey, we not bringing nobody through that door other than through the draft. We have to be asked this season. Put him on the tape of Victor Wembanyama. He'll be like, we good.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
He gonna say less. I'm gonna go ahead and
Shut himself
Because
down.
him making a play in is the point differential is like -40. Like that's not doing anything for them.
If
exactly.
y'all sit LaMelo down and tell him like, hey, we're gonna be trash this year, he will say, okay, that's fine, and then he's gonna call a big baller, and they're gonna get some stories, and he's gonna be out of there. Like
Well, luckily they don't really have to tell him anything. The roster's gonna be asked whether he
That'll
likes
tell
it.
him as is. Actions be way louder than
That's
words.
the funny part. We're all talking about they need to tank and they need to just give up. But the reality is, even if they try, they're gonna be tanking because they're gonna be fucking horrible. Like it really doesn't matter what they do. They're like not. Our answers keep saying that. Oh, nothing they can do. Well, there's probably nothing else to talk about then because there's just no hope for them really.
This would be a good talk potentially, Isaac. Out of every single team in the NBA right now, who needs Victor Wembanyama the most?
Who needs him the most? The Jazz. The Jazz would need him the most.
Dude, why would you put the Jazz in this conversation?
I'm be honest. That is the last team I want to
Yes!
see.
Why would you want to see him play in front of
I don't want him
Hornets?
there either. I don't want him there either. But they need him the most for sure.
No, they don't.
He's right. He's
Strictly
right.
based off need. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
you could say the Spurs, but I have faith the Spurs will execute a proper rebuild and eventually get to the point they need to be at regardless. I don't know if I have faith in that for the Jazz, so they probably need to get blessed.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm being real. I think the Charlotte Hornets are next on that list. Like the other teams that are tanking / bad teams, they have a bright future with like a previous pick or group of picks. I don't see nothing other than LaMelo Ball when I look at the Hornets. And these other teams got a couple different. Now, maybe they don't have the ceiling that LaMelo has, but it's still very, very dim over there in Charlotte.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
I got the
Back to the-
I got the Hornets easily, bro. I can see and I understand the vision for the Utah Jazz, but for the sake of basketball fans and their happiness, we're sending that boy over to the Hornets next year, if you ask me.
Well, since we're on the topic of Victor, let's go on this tangent a little bit. If you could put him on any team you wanted, who would it be?
The Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
You know?
Well, if we're talking realistically among tanking teams, then who?
Amongst the tank
Teams where he could realistically go to. I'm gonna put him on the Rockets. You put him next to Jalen Green and Jabari Smith. That's gonna be fucking beautiful.
What position?
wow.
What position would he play over there?
Center. What do you mean?
star. Like, he's gonna be a star anywhere he goes. It'll be fine. You'll find a way. I guess OKC. I would say OKC just because I think just like and
Him and Chet, the picture. Just imagine that.
preemptively pause, but like the length on Chet and Victor together is ridiculous. Like that would just be crazy. So I would say the Thunder with Shea. Yeah.
A team that I think deserves it the most because, correct me if I'm wrong, but they never had a number 1 overall pick in their entire existence, the Indiana Pacers. Him next to Tyrese, next to Benedict Mathurin, bro. I want to see it happen. I need it.
I actually really do like that pick. And the fans are crazy over that. I went to a few games last season, and even though they were ass, they were like going crazy for the most random O'Shea Brissett step back mid-range jump
my
shots. Like
God.
it was real. So that's a very good team.
The only reason
but
I know who O'Shea Brissett is from fantasy basketball, picking him up in the last week of the season because he's getting all the garbage time run.
Yeah, yeah, fantasies like that for sure. Those are the candidates.
Yeah.
Those are the candidates. I think that the Orlando Magic luck should run out. They've had the first overall pick too damn much. But I would like to see Scoot Henderson over there with Orlando Magic. I'm being honest.
That would be hard. Him and Paolo.
That would be perfect.
Ooh, that would be nasty. That would be
Yeah.
nasty.
That's just like the perfect. bag Twitter team you can imagine. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'd be watching them boys every night. I won't skip a beat.
It'd be funny because you'd have Scoot, you'd have Paolo, they're out there doing their thing, and then you just have Cole Anthony stealing all the thunder, shooting up pull-up threes and missing them. You'd go full Dylan Brooks and be like, it's my time now.
Yeah.
That's who the Grizzlies need to trade Dylan Brooks or Jay Crowder. I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Oh, that's actually a good idea. That's a good idea. I like that. I don't know how Dylan Brooks would feel about coming off the bench. You know what I'm saying?
We don't care what Dylan Brooks.
Who cares how Dylan Brooks feels?
I don't know what how Ja would feel about that because they're boys.
Are they? I don't even think I knew that.
So, yeah, I don't know. Bring Jay back. He did hit a game winner for them before they traded his ass away. So, yeah.
Yeah, it probably would never actually happen, but I just feel like Dylan Brooks needs to be out of there. But I guess him and Ja being best friends complicates it. But that would definitely be a less is more situation.
Yeah, for sure.
But all right, we can move on to another interesting team since we spent that time talking about the least interesting team we could imagine.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Miami Heat. Obviously, the big story with Miami Heat is 1, Jimmy Butler has a weave. 2, they have no more PJ Tucker. Which one y'all want to talk about first?
The weave. I need to get this.
Oh
off.
my God.
I need to get this off.
Right.
Listen, you cannot. Man weaves are despicable. They are despicable. And I can't stand when I see. We'll get to Jimmy in a minute. I can't stand when I see older black dudes, right? Like what
Say
Karan
Jalen
Butler
Smith.
did. You cannot be bald on Friday and have a 3 and a fade on Monday. It does not work like that. I see you, and that's nasty work. As for Jimmy, listen, you weave extensions like that. Come on, man.
It's so funny because I was not serious, but here we are.
Oh no, I'm passionate about being anti-man weave. We can't be out here. What's next? We're losing recipes, Isaac. We're losing recipes out here.
The good thing is that he cut it last night, so
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about him actually playing with it. Even though I was very interested to see him playing with it. That's like an extra 3 pounds of weight, let's be honest. Like they were long and they were paws thick. You know what I'm saying? So I already knew it was gonna be bad. But no PJ Tucker though, I think is really gonna hinder this team long term. Like I still think they're gonna be a really good regular season team because it's the Miami Heat. And they have the infrastructure to be, very, very good regular season wise. When it comes to the postseason, unless they do something like at the deadline to get some more depth over there, I just don't feel great about them.
I think something.
Me neither. I've gotten flamed in TikTok comments for saying that they're. I said that they're obviously a contender because they can make the conference finals and so. But I see a 0% chance they actually win the finals, and people hate that. But I already didn't have faith in them last year because their half court creation isn't great. Yeah. They don't get to the rim. All their ball handlers shoot mid-range pull-ups every time they drive, and now they don't have that key defensive piece at the 4. I don't even know what the answer is. Who are they going to start there?
The man that they gave a humongous bag to, Mr. $32 million a year. What's his name? Tyler Hero. That's that. Like, what do they expect out of him this year? Is he going to start? I think he's going to be a starter this year, right?
He slides you into the 4, I guess.
Probably you might have to start him just because you don't want $32 million coming off the bench.
Exactly. As the money grows, your role should grow as well, and those things should be congruent to each other. So I think expectations are going to change, and now he's going to be given somewhat of not the keys necessarily, but he's going to be given more roles and responsibilities, along with I think Bam Adebayo. Of course, he took a 3 less the last time they played, which is pretty cool to see. But I think those two for me, what are they going to do? What is Tyler?
3 months until he takes another one.
Yeah, exactly. That's my biggest thing.
So, okay, to be more specific, I made it clear I don't think they're a contender. What percentage chance do you think they have of winning the championship? Because I think we'll all agree they'll be a top seed in the regular season, but that's not what matters for them.
15. Is that disrespectful?
No,
I think it's 0. So I
think that's kind of high.
Wow, I thought I was being disrespectful.
Yeah, no. I mean, a lot of their fans are like, "Oh, Victor Oladipo's back in shape. We're good." It's like that's not getting you over the hump. I'm sorry, it's not getting you over the hump, especially with those other teams out there. If I put it in percentages, I'm saying 7%.
That's the exact number I have.
Which all that means is you think 0, but you're not brave enough to say it. That's all that means. Just say it with the chest. You don't think they can win? Just 0.
No. But like, I actually think that like if stuff breaks, well, the main thing for me with Miami is what version of Kyle Lowry they're gonna get. Like,
True.
Obviously, Lowry was out of shape last year. He went through a whole bunch of injuries. He left the team for a while. He had some personal stuff going on. If he can come back, and if he's the Kyle Lowry that they thought they were getting from Toronto, the one that was shooting close to 40%, over 40% from three, like that's a really big difference, because you saw it as soon as he came into that series against the Celtics. The entire dynamic of the offense changed. He was able to push the pace. They were their entire creation was much better. Jimmy didn't have to do as much. So if Kyle can get back to like a stable, I guess state of playing, like that's the key for them. Yeah, that's a fair point. That's going to be the big offseason addition for them, is if they can get a real Kyle Lowry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fair point. I'm being very pessimistic about them, but I think we all like take it for granted the fact that Kyle Lowry was not his normal place last year, but it really wasn't his fault. Like you're saying, he was hurt, and I give a lot of credit to James Harden, saying give him a chance to get healthy. He'll come back and look more like himself. We should probably give that same grace to Kyle Lowry. And like you said, if they do have prime Kyle Lowry, or even past prime Kyle Lowry that was still great, we're talking about a different team.
Bro.
I mean, Kyle Lowry was injured. Tyler Hero was injured, and they still ended up in Game 7 with the Boston Celtics. Yeah. So it's not like it's completely terrible over there, obviously, but it's still a lot to be desired when I look at their roster up and down.
Yeah, exactly. When you have these conversations, like, okay, cool, I respect you, right, but like, let's be fucking for real. Like, you begging on a 36-year-old Kyle Lowry to go ahead and take him over the hump.
Yeah, I'm saying he's like James Harden, but he's significantly older, so that is a factor to consider.
So it's like, we're saying this, but like, it has to be absolute best case scenario, and every single thing has to, like, every domino has to fall. Every single one. You can't skip it.
I feel like the Heat are that team that everyone just feels the need to be polite to and give respect because they work so hard. But like, we don't really believe in them. But it's like they deserve the recognition.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things.
I mean, but they do. Like, it's a real thing though. Like they really should have been swept. Like, if you're talking about on paper, they should have been swept with the amount of injuries, with the lack of offensive creation that they had against the Celtics. And somehow they found themselves a Jimmy Butler pull-up three away from going to the NBA Finals. Like that infrastructure and like Heat culture is real.
I think.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. It's just like all that's true, all that's great. They're still not going to be a realistic contender.
Calling the spade a spade, it's time for Bam to take over as like the guy.
Yeah,
100%.
Especially in the regular season, because we want to preserve Jimmy Butler to put up 30-point triple doubles come playoff time. But regular season, Bam, for 3 years in a row, I feel like he's been saying, "I want to take more shots. I want to take more shots." First preseason game, he was doing that. He was inefficient for a center, but at least he was getting the shots up. So I think it's time for him to take that bigger role.
But how many years are we going to say this until we decide that maybe he's just not built like that? Like, he can want it and say it in the media, but
this is the last.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt one last time, and if he says it again next offseason, I'm cutting him off. I will not be rocking my number 13 Miami Heat jersey ever again, because I'm tired of it. We know versatility defensive. There's not a lot of people better than him on that side of the floor, but like they're asking for more at this point.
Yeah. And it's like, even if he is just that defensive player, great, fantastic.
Yeah.
But when it's not even like just the media or fans' fault for putting him in these conversations as if he should be this offensive player. He does it himself. So it's like, at a certain point,
and his teammates too. Jimmy's like, "I'm going to fine you $100 every game you don't take a three," and then he takes like 6 on the season. It's like, what is happening? Why are you just giving him all his money?
That's funny, because if you're Bam, just fucking take one just to avoid that conversation.
Wait, was that actually a real conversation?
That's a real thing.
Yeah, I said it in the media. I'm sure it was like in jest, but like clearly these conversations are happening. So like Bam hears that, he has to.
Yeah, okay, that's funny. Yeah. He needs that type of motivation, dog. It's Miami's a tricky place to, not tricky, but they're just like what you said, Isaac. You have to give him respect. What you said, you have to give him respect.
Okay, final predictions. Where are they going to place in the regular season seeding wise, and what are they going to do in the playoffs?
I'll give them 3.
Three seed, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking they're going to be a top 3 seed again.
Yeah, 3 for sure.
I'll say I'm going to give them even more respect. The Heat will finish as the number 2 seed.
Okay, not great.
Splitting hairs here. I feel like the 2 and 3 seed are going to be like 1 game difference.
Yeah. Probably. I'm just trying to play this like The Price is Right. I just want to be different.
Facts. I want to be the one that was highest on the Heat, which isn't hard for this room.
Yeah.
What's interesting is when you talk about the playoffs with them, like how many teams do you think they could like confidently beat towards the top of the East? Like how do you think they're gonna match up against the Bucks, the Sixers, and the Nets?
Oh, that's a good question. We're going to turn this into a TikTok segment.
Let's go.
Let's turn this into TikTok. I'm going to list some NBA teams. You let me know if you're taking them or the Miami Heat in the playoff series.
Let's run it.
The 76ers.
Oh, I'm taking the Miami Heat.
Such a hardened hater. I'm taking the 76ers. Come on.
I'm taking Sixers too in a heartbeat.
Okay.
I'll take Sixers, but it wasn't in a heartbeat. I think it's a 7-game series, legit.
Yeah.
I don't think if it's a 7, then I should go Miami because James Harden.
Oh, that's a good point. Honestly, that's a very good point. It is going to be a long fought series, and Harden gets worse as the series goes on.
That is true.
Damn, are you making me reconsider? Maybe I might pick the Heat now.
Damn.
Do it.
Fuck it, the Heat are winning in 7.
And I believe in Joel. I believe in Joel and Tyrese Maxey. And also PJ Tucker. Important to note, too.
Oh, yeah, no. Flip it. PJ Tucker's on this roster now. Them and
I can't flip twice, so I guess I'm stuck on this island by myself. You swayed me once. You played me. All right, what about the Cavs?
The Heat.
I'll
For
take
sure.
the Heat.
I'm taking the Cavs. I feel like I'm just like in the 1% of Cavs believers on the internet at this point, but I think they're going to be like that.
I think
I couldn't be higher, honestly.
he's like a year or two away from that. You're too advanced in your thoughts with that.
I just don't see why it's going to take that long. Maybe everyone says that, give them some time. No, I feel like they're going to be ready. I'm really big on like not waiting or just giving people flowers, just saying things about how they are at the moment. Like I feel like year 2 of Luka, I was like, he's one of the best pick and roll ball handlers I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Damn.
I don't see why people need to wait if we're going to be that good.
Respect
I
it.
guess. What's the next team?
What about the Nets?
It's tough.
I'll take the Nets. If the Nets make it to the playoffs in one piece, I'll take the Nets. but if they come in looking like the way that they did last season, then I'll take Miami.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I feel like if everybody's healthy, all things go in best case scenario for both teams, it's the Nets. But there's a really good chance it doesn't go best case scenario for the Nets. So maybe you got to pick the Heat.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. In the perfect world, it's the Nets, and I don't think twice, but it's the Brooklyn Nets, and nothing's perfect in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this
So
world,
that's
not
what I'm
perfect.
actually thinking.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And also, this is kind of random, but bro, after seeing the way it's a preseason, but seeing Ben Simmons' jump shot, you know what I'm saying, just like after all that time he missed, I'm like, bro, you can easily be taken out of the game if a team wants to go to that extent, and I feel like Eric Spoelstra is the type to go to that extent. So I got the Miami for sure.
Totally different topic, but I don't think you're going to be able to take Ben Simmons out of the game as easily now because he's next to KD and Kyrie. It's much easier to hide his lack of shooting when you have those people coming off screens with them.
Great point.
But I see your point.
Great point.
Maybe a smart team like Spoelstra, like you said, is going to be the one to expose him.
Yeah.
Do we trust Steve Nash to actually put him in the right position?
I don't think Steve Nash is that bad of a coach. I feel like it's so overrated.
I can't even give you an opinion because I feel like he hasn't actually coached
Yeah.
anything yet.
Exactly. He's had no chance with all the turmoil and the change of the teams. Like every 2 weeks he's game planning for a new team. Like how could you expect him to do something incredibly impressive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe it was an Ime Udoka thing, but like in past years they were making good adjustments defensively in the playoffs and taking things away from teams. Like I feel like because Kevin Durant thinks he's ass for whatever reasons he has, like everyone's just like, yep, he must be shit. The NBA player said it. It's like maybe not. Maybe Katie's wrong. Ever thought about that?
That is a good
I feel like I can disagree.
That is a good discussion. You on to something, Isaac. You on to something.
Steve Nash, time out. Wait. Okay. Steve Nash has been the coach for 3 years though, and like you've coached over 100 games, and we still don't know if you're like you still don't know if you're that guy. I feel like even on bad teams, you can tell if they're being coached well.
He's played over 100 games, and maybe 13 of them he's had his full roster. Like it's been the most tumultuous 3 years. Like it's not a normal 3 years for a coach.
It's 3 years though. It's still 3 years.
I couldn't think of a worse coaching job to have other than like Steve Nash's and like whoever, like Frank Vogel on the Lakers. Like those are the top 2 worst places to coach at by far.
Yeah.
So I kind of side with Isaac.
Let's go.
I mean, had a couple playoff series, and one of them, his whole game plan was KD will not sit on the bench for 60 minutes. He will play every single second. And another,
Hey, it almost worked.
Even the Bulls took a game off the Bucks in the playoffs. Like, getting swept in the playoffs is ridiculous under any circumstance, especially when you have an all-time great on your roster.
Should never happen if you have Kevin Durant. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But are we putting that on Nash or are we putting that on KD? Because KD had the worst series of his life.
Put it on everybody. But I'll put it on KD though. He's out on the floor.
Kyrie was there too. Don't forget, and he was healthy. So.
Oh yeah, Kyrie didn't play well either. They can both get it.
Yeah.
Anyways, we have two more really uninteresting teams to talk about before we get to these TikTok segments. So let's just fly through it.
All right.
What do y'all feel about the Magic? Let me not even ask what you think they're going to be in terms of wins and all that shit, because it doesn't matter. Who are you excited for from this young core?
Paolo.
I'm smashing you over though. I know you said not about the wins. I'm smashing over.
Okay. Explain.
I think they have a lot of people on their roster that are really, really solid. I mean, they have maybe too much that you have to figure out, how many minutes does this guy get? Is he a part of our real future? And you have to figure that out. Yeah. Jonathan Isaac doesn't have a timetable after 2.5 years of not playing basketball. Markelle Fultz already broke his toe. It's a lot of stuff, but I believe legit in Wendell Carter and Franz Wagner.
Yeah.
And Jalen Suggs cannot be worse than he was last year offensively.
Yeah, I say the same thing, but it's like shaky logic because, like, are we assuming he's going to be better just because he's young, or maybe he was just not that good? Like, who knows?
It is possible. It is possible. I know for sure his defense is real, though. Like, he was really good defensively last season. And it's just it felt like he could have been a lot better. I mean, maybe he's just ass. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I made a joke earlier about Cole Anthony taking all the shots, but I think he actually is pretty good. Like, maybe his destiny is a sixth man. A lot of people say that, but I think he is clearly a valuable player in that way. Like, his mix of off-the-dribble shooting and a little bit of playmaking he provides is honestly valuable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But now that you mention it, they do have a lot of guys. Like, Shimo Okiki is like their 11th most relevant guy, and he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Kenny, so you said that you were going to hammer the over, right? So if you look at their win total is at 27.5. You're
I think they could be a 30-win team. I think they can be a 30-win team. Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, are you assuming Paolo's going to be like really good right away?
I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be really good.
Yeah. He'll have good numbers.
Like I said, I'm a real believer in Franz Wagner. I know Eurobasket doesn't necessarily translate to where you perform in the NBA, but even when he was playing in the NBA, he was one of the best rookies in the class, and nobody cared because he was part of the Orlando Magic. And then when you took away the Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter minutes, Franz Wagner and Wendell Carter together were fucking amazing on the bad team. Like, their numbers were amazing on the really bad team. And I'm assuming now that Paolo's there won't be a ton of lineups where you see Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter together. You're going to get a full experience of Wendell at the 5.
But why did they bring him back then? They just brought him back to be the backup? Like, they paid him,
talking to the guys over at the Six Man Show, and I asked them the exact same thing. They said that they just really like him in the locker room.
Good vibes.
He's like 24, and he's a locker room vet already. Yeah. Like, what are we doing?
And maybe it's one of those things where they just didn't want to lose the asset, and they signed him to trade him. Like, it's very possible.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That'd be a smart thing to do, and they seem like they're a decently smart team over the last few years. So I can see that. That's interesting. I hadn't even considered their win total over-unders because it's like the image in my head is them from last year where they were just the worst team in the NBA, as we see by the first pick. But yeah, I can totally see that. I think Franz Wagner is definitely gonna surprise a lot of people that aren't paying attention to them. Him. He's not gonna be a star, but he's gonna be the ideal player to play next to other stars.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
What do you think? I had a weird connection with him because that was the Chicago Bulls pick. So.
And Wendell was notably a Chicago Bull at one point.
Yeah.
You're gonna be dreading that for
now
the
makes
lifetime of your Chicago Bulls fandom. You're going to be like,
bro, he's nothing to be thinking about Wendell Carter in 5 years, I promise.
No, I'm talking about, for sure. But Franz, though, you're going to be 40, 45 talking about, damn.
No, it's going to be cool because we're going to build a statue of Vooch after he helps us win the 2026 NBA Finals. It's simple.
Ooh, that's so nasty.
Oh, my God, that's funny. Fucking Vooch. I was seeing we had a TikTok about should the Lakers trade Anthony Davis, and somebody was like, I would trade Anthony Davis for DeMar and Vooch. If you were as a Bulls fan, would you want to trade those two for Anthony Davis?
29-year-old Anthony Davis on the last year of his deal and hasn't really been healthy over the last couple seasons.
But also, keep in mind, it's Vooch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sure. That's what I'm saying. Sure. I'll take it.
You would have to.
Yeah, the people are, I read over on Reddit, they were clipping someone else's pod. They were like, the Lakers are going to hold on to that pick because you never know if the Bulls are bad. DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic for the 2027 and 2029 Lakers pick with Russell Westbrook. And I'm like, bro, We are not
I think
about
Zach
to
Lowe
blow
said
up the
that.
Bulls team. It was Zach Lowe?
Yeah.
I think it was.
There we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
That's a lot.
We're not about to blow up the Bulls team already after 1 year.
No, that's nuts.
Hey, I mean, I know you've obviously been thinking about it, but DeMar will not stop telling people that he wanted to be a Laker. Like he probably still does.
He tells every time you put a microphone in front of DeMar, he tells you, I thought I was going to the Lakers. Come on, bro. And then now he added this other one. There was one team out there that offered me a vet minimum, and I take it personal. Everybody knows the Clippers, bro. Everybody knows. Shout out to DeMar, though. I got nothing but love for DeMar, but yeah.
That's
funny.
That's funny.
I know Bulls fans have this like infatuation with Anthony Davis. Do you think that's still there? Do they still like fiend for him to have him one day?
No.
Really?
No, that died.
Because I think we got our Chicago legend or hometown hero guy fixed right now with Ayo Dosunmu.
Oh my
And
god!
obviously-
real.
I'm being real though. Obviously, he's not Anthony Davis, but even yesterday from Chicago, the crowd goes crazy when they hear that.
Yeah.
And we don't need two from Chicago's because it loses its effect.
So limit to one Chicago kid per
The answer
team
to your
era.
question is no. I wouldn't trade Ayo for Anthony Davis straight.
Honestly, valid. Ayo's gonna play 62 games. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else to say about the Magic? I don't.
I don't.
Like Jamal Mosley, he's a really cool
Yeah,
dude.
great coach. Nothing else.
Could not spell his name for the life of me though.
Oh yeah.
That H is tricky. That's funny. All right. Well, last thing we got to talk about here is the Washington Wizards.
Yuck.
Just the definition of the
Yuck.
most mid team in the NBA.
Yeah.
We had a video where we were talking about teams that would trade for Russell Westbrook, and I was saying basically it has to be a team that's the definition of mid because they're not rebuilding, but they're also not a playoff team, and the Wizards are the only team that matches that category. So
Yeah, exactly. There's not really too much to say about them. Like they got better compared to last season, but they're still mid, so that's not really saying much.
Okay, so give them credit. Let's not be super negative. Obviously, they have Bradley Beal back. Kristaps Porzingis should be healthy. Monte Morris, Kuzma took a step. Other interesting pieces like Gafford, Kispert, who's injured. Do you think there's a world where they can push to that 7-8 seed range?
I think 7-8 is a bit high. I think 9-10 is probably where their lot in life is, and they're just going to be at the edge of the play-in. And whether that, like last year, they ended up finishing with 35 wins. I don't know if they're going to finish with 35 or if they're going to finish with 40 and get to like 40 and 42. But 9 and 10 kind of seems where they're going to be at, just because of the strength of the rest of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, of the teams underneath them, they feel like the team that wouldn't try to turn in their chips if they're bad halfway through the season. I feel like they'll keep pushing. Well, I feel like the other teams will be like, oh, shit, Victor Wembanyama's out there, so I'm going to, rest my starters this game. I don't think the Washington Wizards really think about it like that. They're like, we have to make a playoff. Yeah.
After Bradley Beal.
Kristaps Porzingis looked pretty damn good in the games he played last season.
I'm saying
He did.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying. Now that's probably getting 40 games of it, but it was solid. And he hasn't played with Bradley Beal other than a couple weeks ago when they were playing in Japan. There are some things interesting about this roster, but not interesting enough for me to think they're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, exactly.
Even outside, let's separate it from the fact they're not going to be a playing team. What version of Bradley Beal do you think we're going to get? Because obviously last year wasn't his best version, but you chop it up to health. With him coming back now, having Kristaps, who's not the best teammate he's ever had, but probably one of the most complimentary to his game.
Yeah.
Like ideally, in a perfect world, Bradley Beal's one of his biggest strengths now is driving to the rim. Kristaps should help that to stretch the floor.
I think he's probably going to be an all-star again this year.
I would hope so.
Yeah, he's booked.
That's like the floor. I would definitely hope so.
Booked soft.
Can he get back to being like? Is he going to be back in the mix like for the scoring title, being one of the best scorers in the league again?
Hopefully they don't need him to do that for them to be in games.
I got some spoiler alert for you. I think they do. Like they have good pieces around him to like win with that, unlike they were, even though they weren't doing it a couple years ago. But I think they still need him to handle that scoring load.
Scoring title seems a bit much.
That's Zion's.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I like
It's
that.
already in stone. It's Zion's award.
I like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is a very pro Zion podcast. I feel like we've had some very lofty expectations for him.
Yeah.
I think Muhammad thinks he's going to be an MVP contender this year.
Most definitely. Most
I
definitely.
mean, scoring title would definitely help those
Yeah,
conversations.
it just depends
Yeah,
on how the
probably
rest
like
of
a
the team fills out.
5th or 6th seed.
Fifth or sixth. I would say if Zion gets 5th or 4th, then I definitely think he's top 3 in that conversation for sure.
Wouldn't that be so wild to go from not playing for a year and a half and just being MVP immediately? Like people wouldn't know how to handle that. The narratives would just be off the charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see him the other day? Like, God, he was doing stuff that made it look so effortless. He'll get it on the block, take one dribble, and he was rising, and it was like nothing you could do about it.
He shifted the hell out of P. Will. It was crazy.
We aren't feeling great about P. Will right now. Let's be honest.
Okay, elaborate on that.
I forgot about it.
No, I won't say Bulls Nation is off. But they're still asking for leaps, and obviously as a team that's trying to compete, I'm putting that in quotation. That's what they're trying to do. They're not actually doing it, but that's what they're trying. A Patrick Williams leap is extremely important for the organization, and at least in preseason, you want to see him take a couple shots, just a couple. I mean, not asking for much more than that, and he just didn't. So,
well, what do you personally?
I'm still on the bandwagon.
What do you? You're on the bandwagon. So, what kind of player? What do you see the vision for him in a couple years?
Well, he had one of the lowest usage rates of any starter last season, which makes sense. He's playing with Vucevic, DeMar, and Zach LaVine. They're all like, give me the ball or let me do my part. But you would want him, like there were opportunities a lot last season where he'll get the ball in the corner, and instead of just taking the jump shot, and he is an efficient three-point shooter on low volume, but efficient three-point shooter, where he'll take one dribble and pass. It's like, God damn it, Patrick. It was a 4th overall pick the year before Scotty Barnes. Like, we need you to do something. We need you to do something.
You know what's interesting? I feel like that's probably a coaching thing, though. I feel like they're probably stressing to him. We have all these creators. We need the defense from you and whoever else we can get it from. Like, we need you to focus on this. They're probably telling him that like, you need to be the defense. Go out there and only focus on that. So he's probably thinking, I got to defer to these stars.
Yeah. I mean, be real. He's not as great of a defender as a lot of people think he is.
Yeah, the idea of him is much better than the reality.
He's very stiff at the bottom half of his body.
Yeah.
And I can't explain it other than that. And I think you need some flexibility to guard the guys that he needs to guard.
Well, he's had some lower body injuries, hasn't he? First came to the league?
He has, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why, Yeah, I guess we don't got to get full on into the Bulls' misery.
I told you before the show I didn't talk Bulls.
We did.
Yeah. Luckily, I forgot we talked about them in episode 1 of the show, so I was like, you got saved. We're not going to make you rehash that, even though here we are doing it now.
Yeah, had to.
But yeah, last thing I want to say about the Wizards, I've been a Kyle Kuzma fan from day one. Had a shaky year or two. People were telling me I was stupid for being high on him, but we're back. Kyle Kuzma is a very good NBA player, and I'm sad he's no longer a Laker.
I don't know about very good. I'll say he's a good NBA player for sure.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, being the third best player on a non-playoff team, how good can you really be?
Exactly.
Oh, maybe because the first and second best player aren't too good.
I mean, he's basically third best player on the championship team a little while ago, right?
I think people gave it to KCP unanimously, but he was up there.
KCP was elite, bro.
That makes sense.
His turn, KCP's
hilarious to say. We're
crazy.
arguing between KCP and Kuzma.
Yeah.
This is awful.
What a world we live in.
Yeah, bro.
That team won a championship.
This is super random, though, but I remember at a point in time during LeBron's early years for the Lakers, like KCP was terrible. That was when back in them days he had the ankle monitor attached to him, and he was ass. He was given the
best fake news ever. I love that.
Yeah, he was given like the Danny Green treatment like every single night. People just harassing him. Turned out he had a burner account and he was defending himself for that too. And all of a sudden the bubble happened. And he looks like, bro, he's the best version of a two-way guard that you'd like to see. Just shoot up 3 and D. So that's interesting to see that.
That's funny. He was really the most hated player in the NBA because Lakers fans just have so much vitriol in their hearts and just have so much masses online. Like, It's crazy. The mental shit he must have gone through, the ups and downs must have been so crazy.
Yeah, bro.
I would take less money to play somewhere else other than LA. If I was a player.
Yeah.
Like that.
I don't
that's
know. He
how
got
bad
17 mil from the Lakers. Nobody was touching that. Like they gave him a bag. That might be a little too much to turn down.
And now he's playing with Jokic, which should be he's like the perfect guy. He's like the perfect guy for that spot.
Yeah. I think we're talking about them next week. But we can talk about them a little bit now. The Nuggets are like.
I love them.
I think in terms of roster construction, you can get much better than that in terms of just on paper fit. Like, so you can say the same thing about the Suns last year. They're the new version of that, where just everything fits so well and checks all the boxes. They're going to be incredible.
Yeah. I think their over-under was like 49.5, and I was like, give me that.
Really?
That's a
smash
lot.
That
crazy.
over.
That's a lock.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'll check it right now. They're 50.5.
Oh, it changed. Okay, 50.5.
Over.
I'm still taking the over.
Yeah.
Sure.
If it was 54, I might still hit it. Like, I think they're going to be that good.
Yeah.
I think I think for the Nuggets, honestly, their championship price is probably the best price on the board. They're plus 2,000, 20 to 1. I really like them at that price. I think like if Jamal comes back, and we saw him do some crazy stuff in that first preseason game. If Jamal comes back and he's 100%, and MPJ comes back and he's even solid, like Jokic has been carrying these teams with absolutely nobody for these last 2 years. You give him just a little bit of help, like they're gonna make a run, and the West is very, very open for them to do it.
Yeah, it helps that Michael Porter Jr. is like the most efficient shooter of all time. Like he does not miss. It feels like he had 2 back surgeries, came back first preseason game, and just like was like 5 for 7 or something. Like he just didn't miss at all. So
only problem is he doesn't do anything else besides not miss jump shots.
But luckily, Aaron Gordon showed over the last season that he's such a versatile defender that like even though Michael Porter Jr. doesn't defend anything, you got Aaron Gordon over there, and they could run a bunch of lineups where like Michael Porter Jr. is not even on the court if we need a defensive stop.
Mm-hmm. You remember that quote that Damian Lillard, maybe his representation, put out that said, we want one of these elite defensive players on our teams with Dame, one of the Gobert, Giannis's, or Aaron Gordon's, and they threw him in there. That was fucking hilarious.
That time was wild. That time.
I wonder if they're represented by the same people. Are they both CAA? They got to be.
Got to be something. But you know what? The NBA player's perspective is a lot different than ours. Where like people are in conversations like that, maybe in NBA circles, but as a fan like us, we don't see Aaron Gordon in that same conversation.
You know, I feel you, but I don't believe NBA players view him in that conversation either. I just can't imagine that. Like, maybe
he said we want somebody that might be gettable, so let me add Aaron Gordon to the conversation.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious. Just framed terribly. Just set him up to get clowned on.
That's a great.
But I think we're done with these team previews. I think we can move on to the TikTok segments. Y'all ready?
Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So I'm going to send you guys a doc in the chat. These are some of the new NBA throwback jerseys. We're going to do a classic segment we used to do, this or that NBA jersey edition.
This is my bag.
So go ahead and open that up for me.
This is my bag.
Facts. Even though everybody hates your taste, they think you just have no style and are just an idiot when it comes to fashion.
Yeah, they don't know anything because people don't understand the history of jerseys. Also, can you give us access?
Yeah.
Fuck, I hate this fucking Google Docs. Okay, let me ask you this, Kenny, because this was a very controversial thing in our comments. You remember those Miami Vice jerseys where they took it a year too far and did the gradient all over it?
Yeah.
Are those good jerseys?
No.
Wow. Are they average jerseys?
They're maybe slightly below average. You know, I don't want, like, if they were playing, they aren't bad enough for me. Like, oh snap, I don't want to watch this game anymore because there are some jerseys like that. But I would not buy. That's how I always look at jerseys.
Who's on that list where you won't watch the game?
That's crazy. That's terrible, bro. Won't watch the game because of a jersey? Oh my god.
I won't. If we talking recent jerseys, the Utah Jazz practice jersey, I won't watch if they're wearing that jersey, bro. It also helps that they don't have a lot of talent, like worth watching. Yeah, but that's the one that comes to mind immediately. It's like sometimes, because I think a lot of these teams are like, we got to go vintage, and then you bring a throwback, which is fine, I guess. But like eventually you're gonna run out of throwbacks, and then the opposite of that is like, let's get super simple. And simplicity's cool, but it has to have its limits. And I think the Utah Jazz tried to go too far in simplicity.
Yeah, those jerseys suck. Those are awful. I get the same vibe from, actually no, not the same vibe, but like the ones that I didn't like, the Mavs a couple years ago had the navy blue one with just a blue and a white stripe on the side, and I didn't like those because they felt like practice jerseys.
You know, it's another bad Mavs one. It was one that looked very like
the green and blue
comic
one?
booky.
Oh, that was terrible.
Terrible jersey.
That Looney Tune-ass
jersey.
Oh my
Let me tell you the background to where this conversation came
the
from.
The fact that Luka had to hoop in those is disgusting.
Yeah, they should have just...
This conversation started because we had those Mavs jerseys versus the Gradient Heat ones, and we said these are the worst 2 jerseys we've ever seen. Which one's better? And the comment section fucking flamed us and said those Gradient jerseys were one of the best jerseys in NBA history, and we have no taste.
Well, you have to remember that they're the viewer base is probably
they're like
young.
14.
Yes, 13-year-olds.
And
that
if
say,
I was
bright colors. Yeah.
If I was a freshman in high school in 7th, 8th grade, I'd probably mess with those jerseys.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Ooh, bright color, gradient look cool. Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Yeah, has everybody got this doc with the jerseys pulled up?
Yeah. Yep. I do not. I requested it.
Get with the program. You don't got to request any more refresh?
Refresh it? Oh, okay, cool. Cool, got
This
it.
man Mo is technically challenged.
Absolutely.
Shit's funny, old man. All right, we're going to do an NBA jersey, this or that. Let me reset that. I got to get the TikTok hook in there. TikTok hook in there. I can't speak either. Let's do another NBA jersey, this or that. Are y'all taking these Warriors jerseys or the Rockets?
I'm gonna take the Warriors jerseys. Just I like the C on them, but those Rockets jerseys are hard. I think both of these are like 10 out of 10.
W take. I love a captain thing.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it needs to be across the league. I like the Rockets jersey until you see the shorts. I hate the shorts.
I've never seen the shorts.
I hate the shorts of this jersey. I'm pretty sure they have like a stripe going across that just feels like it doesn't flow well.
Yeah.
So if I'm picking between the two, I'm taking the Warriors one.
It's Warriors easier for me. I love almost every Warriors jersey. It's almost like I'm a Warriors fan at this point.
How do y'all feel about like a roster or a jersey that doesn't feel like it belongs to the team?
Oh, I hate
Like that. This jersey doesn't feel
That's
like a
what
Rockets
I'm
jersey.
saying. Like I see Seattle when I see this, or I see some other team that doesn't exist in the NBA, and I mess with it heavy. But for the Rockets, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Donovan always says this to me because I love any team that has a black jersey, and he's just like, I don't like it. It doesn't feel like a Warriors jersey.
Yeah. I was not a huge fan of the black Warriors jerseys from this past season. I understand like they were solid, they were okay. I don't think every team needs to go with a black jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
And you're wrong. Next one.
I'm like the kids that like the bright jerseys. I just like the black ones, no matter what.
This man is sad, emo.
I'm gonna have to veer towards the
next
Rockets. Towards the Houston jersey. I like the Rockets, but it's just way too random. Way too random for me. It needs to be in the sphere of like their team and the things that they got going on in their city and community. And this just has nothing to do with it in my mind.
I think it actually does have some deep-rooted theme to it, but we'll move on.
It's not relevant to me.
Next one, this Lakers throwback or the purple Bucks throwback?
Bucks. That purple just do something to me, man. I don't know what it is.
This man loves purple. Every time we talk about purple jersey, he's just instantly
I'm
seeing his
with him.
eyes.
I was gonna say the same thing. Purple jerseys, as a main, I'm taking over like 90% of things. Even though the Lakers one is clean, I'm taking the Bucks.
I think I'm gonna take the Bucks as well. I think we're gonna go 3 for 3 on this one. It's just clean. That's all. That's all.
I gotta
I
take
can
the Bucks too. Yeah, I gotta go with the Bucks. Like that color scheme is just the white meshes so well with the dark purple. It's hard not to pick.
I think I like purple so much because of the game Saints Row. That game was so ill, bro. That game was so ill.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Nothing beats Saints Row 3. That shit was so good. Okay, last one. The hardest one. The Suns throwbacks or the teal Pistons throwbacks?
I gotta say Pistons for this one. I like purple. I like purple a lot. I love it. But these teal jerseys, I haven't seen them in a minute. Haven't seen them consistently in a minute. And they just give me old school
so
vibes,
good.
bro. I love them. Top 3 for me.
Yeah, I'm not a jersey collector by any means. I would buy a Cade Cunningham big Piston jersey for sure.
Y'all,
This is tough.
go Isaac.
I know the Pistons are the easy answer, but I'm a sucker for the Sun jersey. I got to go with that one. I love the big sun with the streak going across the side. Every year in 2K, I wear a throwback jersey, and this is always the one I pick. I'm my player.
Let's go. Okay. You actually went different of where I thought you were going to go. I thought you were going to go with the Pistons one. I'm going with the Suns one as well. I think we have different reasons for why we're picking them, but the sun across the logo is iconic. It's I think that's even more than this graffiti horse that listen, and that's cool. You used to play NBA Street and you get those old Pistons uniforms, like that's fire. But the Suns one that's like one of the iconic throwback jerseys in NBA history.
I think I have a Charles Barkley Suns jersey like that.
I do too. I have a black one.
Mine's purple.
I can't blame y'all for that at all, bro. The Suns, that, like you said, Donovan, that basketball across the jersey just goes way too hard.
Yeah.
And I can't fault you for that. I can't call you crazy.
These are honestly two of the best jerseys in the league this year. Like, you can't go wrong either way. All right, let's move on to a classic segment. Underrated or overrated?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let me say, are these players underrated or overrated? We're not going to do properly rated because that makes it too easy.
Yeah.
Everyone always bails out and, I think you're rated properly. All right. First one, LaMelo Ball.
Shit, this is hard because I want to say properly, just like you said, but I'm going to say
This one's hard as fuck.
underrated.
I think because he's popular, so many people want to say he's overrated that he's kind of underrated at this point. Like, it's too easy for them to say overrated.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
I'm going overrated. I'm going overrated. I still think that there's like a couple elements to his game that need to get better, obviously. But people, you see the highlights and you see everything that he can do from just like a wow standpoint, and you might put him a little bit higher than what he needs to be. So I'll say overrated.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna go underrated. I'm gonna go underrated because he doesn't deserve to be in the upper echelon amongst like young point guards, and I don't think a lot of people have him there. But fuck it, I'm just going underrated. I don't know.
No explanation needed. Jimmy Butler.
Forever be underrated.
Underrated.
Everybody says that though. I think he's a little bit overrated.
I still think he's underrated, even if you think he's an amazing playoff performer. I'm still taking that he's underrated.
I think I've said it several times now, but I think we take the fact that he performs so well in the playoffs 2 or 3 games every year, and we just extrapolate that as if that's who he is every single game of his career. And I think consistency matters, and he's great. I just don't think he's necessarily that great all the time.
I understand what you're saying, and there 100% is a merit to it because you look at Jimmy and you're like, hey, do you think you can do this from October to April instead of just waiting? However, when there's nobody else on your team and you know that you can give the ball to Jimmy Butler on one night, and because you're down 2-1 and Jimmy's gonna go out and get you a 40-point triple double and save your season. And he's gonna be just fine in the regular season, but when you know that he has that level to get to, which is superstar level of production, that's a different level. So I would say underrated.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. He turns into Superman twice every year. So I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yes, he's a 16-game player that hasn't won 16 games in the playoffs yet.
Yeah, that's what it is. We talk about him like he has 2 chips under his belt.
Yeah.
That's funny. Our next one, Damian Lillard.
I'm gonna say underrated just because he's been out for a year, and I think a lot of people forgot just how good Dame is.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000% agree with you.
You're spitting right now.
It's just I'm seeing lists, and again, he didn't have a good performance when he was playing last season, but an abdominal injury is one of the worst you can try to play through, especially in the game of basketball. I'm saying he's extremely underrated at this point, which is crazy to say because just a couple years ago he was all NBA. But 1 year, people forget.
Yeah.
People in our comments tell me that I'm stupid for putting him top 10. What are we talking about? It's freaking Damian Lillard. Of course he's top 10 still. He's underrated as hell.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go ahead and say underrated, and I've seen it to an extent to where people are saying, "Oh nah, bro, Ja has surpassed X amount of guys, and Damian Lillard is one of those guys." And I'm just bro, you are off. You are off of it, bro. Bonkers.
Relax. I think we forget now, a lot of people throw away the bubble with not mattering. But what we saw him do in the bubble, it's one of the most insane things I've ever seen on a basketball court. That one game, I think it wasn't the Nuggets, where they just kept going to overtime and double OT, and he's continued to hit these ridiculous threes. He was doing what Jimmy Butler does in the playoffs 2 or 3 times every year in that game, just turning into God.
Yeah.
All right, one more name we got, Chris Paul.
This
one's tough.
This is the perfect properly rated player. I'm gonna say overrated though.
Yeah, I have to say overrated.
Okay, why is that?
I'm gonna say overrated. I know
this hurts Kenny's heart.
Yeah.
You're a Chris Paul guy, Kenny?
He's a number 1 fan.
He's my favorite of all time, man.
Of all time? Oh wow.
Of all time.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I agree he's maybe slightly overrated nowadays.
Why are we saying overrated? What do we think people rate him as?
The best leader in all of basketball according to NBA GMs.
Yeah.
Which is cool. He's in that conversation, but for him to get a majority of the vote feels kind of weird. Yeah,
I think he's great, but not necessarily because of his leadership. I feel like we just say that because he's old and tries real hard. He leads teams to meltdowns in the playoffs. Congrats. I think he is still a really good player, and we take the last meltdown as if he's going to be asked forever now. But we see him bounce back every regular season. I think he's going to do it again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying on my chest at all that he's overrated.
It's just a little. It's always so hard when we take out properly rated because that's such a crush for people in this league.
Exactly.
But it's the
I feel like
truth.
every time we've had you guys do it on Through the Wire, every time Kenny's just properly rated.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, we got one more. Yeah, this is gonna be just a pretty interesting one. Which team has the better young core? The Mavs or the Raptors?
So this is basically Luka versus everybody.
It's the Mavs.
Would you rather have
It's the
Luka
Mavs.
or Scotty Barnes and whoever you... Luka, Scotty Barnes, and OG Anunoby and whoever else you got? I'm taking Luka. Sorry.
And Gary Trent, I think, is under 25.
He's 23.
I'm taking Luka.
I got Luka.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Luka. I don't know. Like, people have... If you think Scotty's going to be this top 10 player in the future, maybe it's a conversation, but we already know what Luka is.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Yeah, I mean, when the Raptors have a good young core, but like it's like Scotty and then a tier below. That like the rest of those guys are a tier below. Presta Chulia, though, I think can raise some eyebrows this season. But
People
it's
have a lot of hope in him. I got to watch more of him.
game.
I've never seen anything to make me as encouraged.
If you look at don't look at the first 60 games of the season, Isaac. If
That's
you're
when I was watching
more.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, watch those last 20 where he was getting the ball and coming up court and jacking up a three and it going in.
Yeah, I don't think I watched him enough at the end of the year because I watched him beginning of the year. I watch every team, and I was like, this guy fucking sucks. He can't finish a layup. He can't shoot. What does he appeal?
He was shooting like 32% halfway through the
Yeah.
seam as a center, it felt like.
And then I see Raptors fans saying that he's going to be one of the most versatile defenders in the NBA and stuff. I was like, what are we talking about? Who is this guy? What am I missing? That's also how I felt about RJ Barrett. Like, I feel like I'm just missing something. Like, I hear the fans that are so hype about him. Yeah, so different tangent. Donovan's a Knicks fan, by the way, so
Oh, okay.
there's a little bit of trauma there.
A lot
next
of
one.
drama.
Cavs or Hawks?
You have to say
Cleveland-
Cavs. What type of question is this?
It's the Cavs.
Have to.
I'm just glad we're in alignment. It's got to be the
It's a
Cavs.
terrible
Gotta be
question.
the
Isaac.
Cavs.
Yeah, I just want to hear you say it.
This man is evil.
Yeah, he set me up for this. This is terrible.
Yeah. Rockets or Thunder?
Ooh, it's a good question.
I'm really high on Jalen Green, so I'm gonna say the Rockets because I'm high on Jalen Green right now, and I think that Jabari has all the tools to like be very, very good. I'm also not sure if Shea's gonna be around for like Shea might ask for a trade soon, so he might be out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're saying you're high on Jalen Green. I'm high as fuck on Shea. And I think Chet Holmgren is better than Jabari Smith. So I think I'm going to have to go Thunder. Plus their depth of picks. Plus their depth of young players. I think it's got to be them.
Exactly. I like Chet a lot more than Jabari Smith. And also, I think Shea versus Jalen Green going towards the future. I think, I don't know. That's a very much of a toss up to me. And I think Chet goes in and take them over the top. And also, you have to consider the fact that they got Josh Giddey. And I think he's a much better fit on that team compared to someone like KPJ, who's like...
I forgot about Josh Giddey. Yeah.
KPJ's like all over the place, so who really knows what he's going to do.
Thunder stomp.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the Rockets. Because
Ah.
I'm a big Tari Eason guy.
I forgot about him.
And nobody's mentioned Alperen Sengun as the young center over there. I don't watch college ball, so I don't really have an opinion about Chet versus Jabari Smith Jr. I guess I watched them in Summer League a little bit, but I really do like Tari Eason's game a ton, and he's going to make me put him over the top. Because, I mean, Shea and Jaylen Brown are damn near the same age. I think people think Shea is a lot younger than what he really is. I mean, it's still young because Jaylen Brown is young. But he's like 24 going on 25
Really?
soon.
That's
Yeah,
nuts.
he's going to age out of the conversation soon. I love how you don't watch college basketball, neither do I, so you don't have an opinion on Chet, but you have an opinion on Tari.
Yeah.
well, we were in Summer League, and Tari Eason was the best player on the court for 3 games I watched of them. Like, that was enough.
That was enough.
Immediately became your guy.
Yeah.
He's the one, he said.
It'd be like that. That's how it was at Caruso in his Summer League with the Lakers. I was just like, yeah,
He's the one.
it's him. That's funny. Well, that's all the segments I got, so I think we can get out of here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good to me.
Appreciate you for coming
Once
by.
again, I appreciate you coming on the show, Kenny.
Of course,
Appreciate you
man.
talking to us for a little bit.
Anytime y'all want me to stop by, I'm down. My daughter
this
is
time next
yelling
week.
in the background, so yeah, send me the invite for next week. I'll keep doing these for you.
Just
But
co-host.
no, I appreciate you guys having me for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on,
Yeah,
wait.
well, I guess that's all we got.
I just saw on the Bleacher Report app, may take disciplinary action against Draymond Green after physical altercation with Jordan Poole. To be honest, that really means nothing, but that's kind of crazy to see. He whooped that boy ass. It's kind of crazy.
Disciplinary action is crazy.
Yeah. Well, you push him up against a locker? What happened there?
Did he try to hit on his wife or what? What's going on?
80 sitcom?
Said, you better rotate. That's funny. What a nice way to bookend the conversation.
Yeah.
This man Draymond just can't stop yelling at teammates.
Perpetually angry.
Bro. That's nuts.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. See you next time.